How do you start the downswing? That's a question I get asked as much as any other on this channel, and it's a really important one to understand because it will influence your ability to strike the ball consistently. Today I'm going to share with you an idea from the top of the backswing which you can use in transition, which will allow you to hit the ball better than you ever have before. So we know that controlling the low point or the bottom of the swing arc is an absolute necessity if you're going to play consistent golf. It's tied directly to consistent ball striking, and the ability to control the low point of the swing where the club hits the ground is uniformly demonstrated by the best players in the world. Conversely, if you're struggling with your ball striking, if you're hitting the ground behind the ball, if you're topping the ball, or if you're just mishitting the ball in general and experiencing that inconsistency and that frustration, this lesson is for you because you'll be able to control the way the club strikes the ball and then the ground. Once I see golfers get to the top of their swing, there's some uncertainty about how to move towards the ball. I think we should all understand that there should be a movement of the weight towards the target. Okay, that's a given. The way you do that can be misunderstood and misrepresented. What I'm going to share with you today is the secret of the lead shoulder and the lead knee in the downswing, and how the movement from here towards the ball will completely transform your ball striking. So we want to pay attention to this lead shoulder to start with and its location at setup. That location is a critical piece, because what you want to ensure you have as an expert player is that your lead shoulder moves back towards and gets even slightly in front of that spot at impact. That is going to ensure that the bottom of your swing is far enough forwards. And in order to do that, once you get to the top, the first movement that you should be making here with this lead arm, this lead shoulder, and the lead knee is to move it down and forwards. So from the top of the swing, this would be position 4 where we're at the top. We're going to start the downswing moving the lead shoulder and the lead knee towards the target and down. And that will happen until my club gets almost down to parallel with the ground. And you'll see at this point in time how my lead shoulder and my lead knee are now much further forwards than when I started the swing. So set up, make my backswing. I'm going to try and stay pretty centered. I'm not going to shift off the ball or towards the target. So standard backswing. And then P4 to P5, almost down to where the shaft's parallel to the ground. The sensation is my shoulder and my knee are moving down and towards the target. That puts me into this delivery position, which gives me a number of positive pieces. There's things here now that I should be able to control. Number one is the low point. The bottom of my swing should be after the ball. That should help me to hit the ball first and the ground second. And the second thing that doing this allows me to do, or helps me to do, is actually to control the path of my swing. Because if I keep my shoulder forwards, I'm still swinging on this back side of the grid. It allows me to swing slightly into out, which helps me to hit little draws and more powerful shots. So one more time from the top, practice moving down with the shoulder and the knee towards the ball. Get a sensation of that downward movement. And then without the ball, you could just practice going down and getting that sense of the downward piece, and then just a little bit of practice in the follow through from there. Because that lead shoulder and lead knee, once you reflex and go down, they both have to push up. So we're going to go top of the swing, shoulder down and knee forwards. That's the start of my downswing. And now I'm going to push back up with both my legs to straighten this front leg and to get this shoulder to start to move back up and behind me. Top of the swing, down and forwards, up and back. Top of the swing, down and forwards, push up and back. That's the way to control the low point, to shallow out the angle of attack, and to allow yourself to have total control over the low point of your swing. There's an element of timing in this which may take some getting used to. If you go down for too long, you might find you start hitting too deep into the ground and your divots get quite big. Equally, if you start topping the ball or thinning the ball, you may be pushing up faster than you need to. I would say that the most common mistake when you start to do this would be the staying down too long, getting a lot of ground. And so if that's the case with you, you've got to then start to get more aware of this pushing back up with the leg and feeling like this lead shoulder starts to go from being very forward to starting to move back up and around. That would be the checkpoints for you. So if your divots are too deep, remember to push up faster and sooner. And if your divots are non-existent and you're still not hitting the ground, the likelihood is you need more of the down and forward piece. It really is a great feeling when you get that compression and that quality of strike that you're probably lacking in your own game. This is applicable to all clubs in your bag where you would hit from the ground. You want to get that lead shoulder forward and then working back up and around. So fairway woods, hybrids, irons, wedges, you name it, is perfect for any shot where you're trying to get that compression and that slight downward strike on the ball. It's going to help you control your low point, increase your distance, and improve your consistency. There's a really simple idea for you to implement into your downswing, the way that you start your downswing, which could really improve your ball striking. And if you're still struggling to visualize what that might look like or potentially feel like, there's a great video here that I'm going to share with you which shows a golfer from the rear view. This is Mac O'Grady, who's one of the best ball strikers that's ever lived, demonstrating the golf swing and his standard procedure, where you'll see from a different view how in the transition, the start of the downswing, how the lead shoulder and the lead knee move down and forwards in transition. That gets him forward enough where he's able to then push back up and get the contact, the low point as we've discussed, of the swing exactly where he needs it. So expert ball strikers demonstrate this all the time. Now that you understand this, you'll probably see it far more often when you're watching the best players. Guys, if you've enjoyed today's video, please do go ahead and hit that like button and share it with your golfing buddies. This one I think will really help a lot of you to transform that ball striking and get that compression that you've been lacking. But if you're still struggling to make good contact, even after implementing this piece in the start of the downswing, the chances are you're getting the wrists wrong at impact. So if you want to learn how to control the wrists properly and ensure that that ball striking really does improve, then you're going to watch this video next, which talks about the trail wrist secret, how to bend the wrist correctly for optimal ball striking.